M1 Global presents.
Уважаемые дамы и господа, представляем вашему вниманию титульный бой.
And now, you know,
В
we
весовой
come
категории
to
до 93
the
килограммов.
first of our main events for tonight, the
Синему
co-main
ринга
event,
спортсмен из
the M1
Польши.
Challenge light heavyweight title fight
Marcin
for the vacant title, which is of course
Zontek.
vacated by Evgeny Margalesh. And now these two guys are going to come together and try and put their name into the record books on who's going to be the next person to own this belt.
Do walki
From
przygotowywałem
Poland, Marcin
się
Zontek.
w klubach Igor i w klubach w Bydgoszczy. Treningi bez większych problemów. Myślę, że dobrze przygotowałem się do tej walki.
Very, very tough guy.
Jeżeli chodzi o jego
Has never been
przeciwnika,
knocked
myślę, że
out.
jest to solidny
Was,
zawodnik i
For a long time
będzie
fighting just
chciał
for the love
pokazać
of it, not really
na pewno,
professionally, not
a
really
ja
for the
mu
money.
pokażę, że tak nie jest, czyli dam z siebie jak zwykle wszystko.
He's working as a fireman, and they said that he used to fight in Great Britain just for the tickets and as a purse for his fee.
Sure. Obviously, a guy who just likes to fight for the sake of fighting. One of, I believe, many firemen who are mixed martial arts fighters. And all-around tough guy. Very, very good previous fight against Salim Daudov. Daudov, of course, known in Russia as Avatar. Put on a good fight in the first round against Zontek, but then tied out. Zontek took the top position a number of times and pounded him out for the TKO win, and that basically is what got Zontek this title fight.
He is 32 years and has a record of 12-7. So you cannot say that he is not experienced. Certainly deserves a shot at the title, I think.
For sure. It's a good record. 12-7. It's not an ideal record, but it's a good record, especially considering that the last few fights have been wins.
But he is facing Sergey Kornev from Legion, and Legion fighters, they are, like you can say, they are the legionnaires from Russia. And I think he will face it, this will be a very tough fight. Because Kornev is well known for his power. A master in freestyle wrestling. He has 10 wins with only 2 losses. So his record is even better if you compare the wins than Zontek's.
For sure. And Kornev, known in Russia as a very, very, very tough fighter. A guy who just brings everything, leaves everything in the ring. And, I think this fight is going to be very tough.
Zontek! Победитель и призер престижнейших турниров Европы и мира по смешанным единоборствам. Марцин Зонтек, Польша, в синем углу ринга. И его соперник в красном углу представляет клуб «Легион», город Ростов-на-Дону. Приветствуйте, Сергей Корнев!
Now making his entrance to the ring, to the red corner, representing the Legion Club in Russia. Obviously, a number of really, really good fighters coming out of the Legion Club. Sergey Kornev.
Тренировался 2 раза в день. Утром физика просто, вечером удары, приемы борьбы, борьба, спарринги. Мой соперник серьезный парень, хорошо бьет ногами, руками, борется. Такой стойкий боец, волевой, характерный. Главное, надо будет перевести соперника в партер и забить партер.
Kicks well, punches well, and the strategy for Kornev for today is to put Zontek on his back and to pound him out. So a pretty straightforward strategy.
Let's see if he can come up to his words.
Что нет бойцов, которые нас превосходят.
спортсмен в красном углу ринга, обладатель Кубка Черного моря, победитель турнира «Легион Файт» Сергей Корнев, клуб «Легион», город Ростов-на-Дону, Россия! Спортсмен в синем углу ринга, 32 года, вес 92,60
Kornev 32 to Zontek, 180 against 185, advantage to Zontek 5 centimeters, 91.9, 92.6, just under 205 pounds, 93 kilograms for the both, and a record of 12 fights with 10 wins for Kornev against 19 fights with 12 wins for Zontek. The M1 Light Heavyweight Championship title fight for the vacant belt. 5 rounds of 5 minutes each. Should be a great fight, exciting fight, and a very tough fight, I believe, will be known.
It will be a very tough fight, but how will they endure? Because both are past 30, and if the fast will last, because don't forget it's a heavyweight title fight, this means 5 rounds of 5 minutes.
Sure, 5 rounds, 5 minutes. It's 25 rounds of fighting, of course, with a minute in between every round. So that's a long, long fight if it goes to the decision.
That's what I mean.
And the fighters both ready. The ring girl continues to stay in the ring as they make their late exit.
And nobody's complaining that the ring girl stays in the ring.
And the next one is getting another round. The fighters, I think, were ready a long time ago, as we see Marcin Zontek's rather horrible tattoo. I believe his back tattoo is a compilation of the various horror film heroes, or anti-heroes if you will, Friday the 13th, Chucky, etc., etc. So one of the more horrible tattoos that we've seen, as the ring girl quickly makes her exit, and we look to begin this first round of the M1 Challenge light heavyweight title fight between Marcin Zontek of Poland against Sergey Kornev of Russia.
With Vladislav Kislov in the ring as the referee.
Ready, fight!
And a left hand lands for Zontek. And I believe that was a slip from Kornev. He sort of landed the right hand. And a big takedown from Kornev straight away, as he looks to get mount. And Zontek doing everything he can to wrap up Kornev's left leg to prevent the mount. And now Kornev ends up with 2 hooks. And Zontek is flattened out, and Kornev is landing strikes to the sides of Zontek's head. And Zontek is just protecting. Kornev still hasn't flattened out, and this position really is ideal, for finishing the fight.
It's a really ideal position for Kornev.
I'm surprised that he was able to get this advantage
soon in the fight.
This soon. And also interesting, that he's not going for any choke.
Why should he? He can continue punching like this. Check here, the hands protect the ears.
Yeah.
But the damage done by the impact of the punches will still be felt by Zontek.
Sure. As Zontek manages to get Kornev's hooks out, and just to have him sitting on the back, or near the back, rather than in any kind of solid position, and Kornev really not too concerned about the fact that he doesn't have hooks in. And that's perhaps a tactical mistake from Kornev. Really, at this point, he should be trying to get the positional advantage.
What is he doing?
I believe the mouthguard had come out. And continues to come out. So, Kornev really should have gotten the positional advantage with the hooks in, and then he should have worked for sure. Leaving the hooks out, he was opening himself up to this, where Zontek now has a Kimura, which he was using to get Kornev back away from him, and now puts him down on the ground. Using that same Kimura is out. Kornev is out of that hold, but Zontek is now working from the top position. And really a reversal of fortune where Kornev could have prevented that prior to being stood up a couple of minutes ago or a minute ago, should he have gotten the hooks in on Zontek before he really continued to punch him, as opposed to continuing to land punishment with no security whatsoever from the legs. This is probably the biggest fight in each fighter's career. And Kornev, as Zontek spins Kornev, Kornev slides away but manages to get Zontek's leg, takes him down, and then Zontek pops back up straight away. As he once again works for a Kimura on that left hand of Kornev.
Do środka ręce, Marcin, dawaj! Kurwa! Spokojnie, Marcin, ze stójki będzie! Wysoko ręce! Hej!
Стряхни, Сережа! Контролируй, сейчас сбоку заходи, Серый! Через ножку сбоку заходи! Спокойненько, Сережа, работай! Вот, хорошо, хорошо, сейчас так же через ножку зайди!
The corner of Kornev is telling him to basically pass to the side, over the left-handed side, the left-hand leg of Zontek. And Zontek, probably understanding a little bit of Russian, being from Poland, closes that guard to make sure that Kornev doesn't pass into side control or side mount.
Сережа, свое делай ручками! Сережа, свое делай ручками! Через ножку попробуй залезть. Голова корпус работает.
And the corner is yelling for Kornev to pass to the head and then to the body and then to the body and then to the head.
Голова корпус, вот так работай! Спокойно, дыши, спокойно! Давай руки накрой! 30 секунд!
As we come to the end of this first round, first of 5 in this title fight, 25 minutes of fight.
I mean, I look at the amount of punishment that Zontek is taking. I wonder if the fight will last 5 rounds.
Zontek is obviously a very tough guy. He seems to be reasonably comfortable with taking that punishment. He doesn't seem to concern, to be honest.
Yeah, but this cannot be healthy.
It cannot be healthy. His face looks reasonably unmarked, more or less.
Jesteś świeżutki, on jest zdychany, rozumiesz? On będzie chciał wchodzić ci w nogi, rozumiesz? Słyszysz mnie?
Kornev looks to be slightly more tired, to be honest. And perhaps this is a strategy of Zontek that we've seen employed a number of times. Ivica Trushek employs this strategy often. He lets his opponent really, do almost what he wants in the first round, takes the punishment, tires them out, and then begins to turn the heat up in the second and the third.
Yeah.
As we come to the beginning of the second round of this M1 Challenge light heavyweight title fight between Marcin Zontek of Poland and Sergey Kornev of Russia. With a left hand and then a right hand landed by Zontek.
Stop!
With something, the mouth guard coming out for Kornev.
Action! Fight!
And that means that Kornev is probably a little more gassed because there was nothing.
Good right hand lands for Zontek as Kornev clinches with him to try and take him down. And a good takedown from Kornev completed, landing in side control. With Zontek now only starting to defend the mount. Kornev looked to be trying to stand over Zontek's arm to get the crucifix position, and from that point on, of course, it's easy more or less to get the TKO. He tries the mount, Zontek defends, continuing to try the mount, and now he gets the mount. Zontek wasn't able to defend. Now, the strategy really at this point for Kornev has to be first and foremost to control Zontek.
And now he has the hooks in and really keep him in. Because
flattening him out. As Zontek continues to steadily try and get his knees back under him so that he has more control over where the fight goes and looks to stand up. Now, did Kornev once again let go of his hooks, or did Zontek somehow throw them out?
He took them out. I wonder why he didn't stay in that position.
As he lands a good left uppercut and then left hook and left uppercut, holding the back of Zontek's head with the right hand and then landing the left. As Kornev's corner is yelling for him to knee Zontek in the head with his right knee.
Stop! Stand position.
As Vyacheslav Kislev restarts the action in the middle of the ring for 2 minutes left in the second round of this title fight at light heavyweight, 205 pounds and 93 kilograms. Yeah, for sure. But Kornev is not letting him get off at any point because he's always threatening with takedown. As he lands a couple of nice right hands and pushes Zontek, basically just pushes him over for an interesting takedown. If someone really seems to be Kornev is bleeding. Is that his nose? Oh, that's a lot of blood. And this is turning, oh yeah, that's a lot of blood. And this is turning into the kind of fight that we thought that this would be. And he's trapped Zontek's arm as well. This is the crucifix position. In this point, in this position, what he should be doing is he should be trying to get Zontek's other arm away from his head and he slides back into him. And this looks like Zontek is covered in blood, and this looks bad for him, but in fact it's actually blood from Kornev who's on top and is dripping down into Zontek's face. With Kislev temporarily halting the action to get Kornev looked at. Now we'll see what the doctor has to say.
Тихо, не высмаркивай. Да подожди, я зачем? Секунду, потерпи. Дыши ртом пока.
And the doctor telling.
The problem with the nose is that if there's too much blood, then you have to put a tampon or something in it, but then you can't breathe properly. And if you put just a piece of cotton in it, it will come out. And the blood will contain to the bleed also.
And this is a good doctor for M1. Very calm. He's saying, no, this is, for now, it's fine. Happy to let the fight go on, which is unusual, to be honest. Whenever doctors intervene in M1, I'm almost, 70-80% sure the fight's going to get stopped. And the fight's restarted with half a minute to go in the second round, with Kornev looking like that break of 2 minutes or 3 minutes or whatever it was didn't do much to ease his tiredness.
Now you can see already that he has problems breathing.
His mouth is open, Zontek lands a number of good punches with a big right hand. and a left hand and another right hand, and he really is turning off. And I think the mouthpiece for Kornev goes flying out.
And we can say that Kornev is saved by the bell on this
Yeah,
round.
I think he really was pretty... No, it was Zontek's mouthpiece.
Zontek.
Interesting, interesting. Zontek's mouthpiece went flying. The referee also thought that it was Kornev's mouthpiece because of all the punches that were landed, but it was in fact Zontek's. Zontek
So what you say? I think the first round was for Kornev, but this second round is definitely for Zontek.
Yeah, for sure. Kornev has a very, very hard head and a very good chin.
Now I think he will feel sorry that he didn't continue in the back mount with hooks.
For sure. For sure. For any up-and-coming fighters that are watching this, or grapplers in fact, if at any point you have a position like Kornev did in the first minute of the first round, and you have the back of your opponent and you have hooks,
Never give that position up.
never give it up. And if you can, get the body triangle. So put one of your legs in front of the opponent's stomach, and then cinch the ankle up with the back of the knee from your other leg so that you create a triangle position. This does a couple of things. First, it really pushes on the opponent's stomach. It cuts off some of the air supply which they can receive. And also it makes you virtually unable, makes the opponent virtually unable to throw you from their back. And some big punches there landed for Zontek. Right at the start of the third. And an inside leg kick which went a little high. Kornev saying he's okay. Not intentional. This fight's been pretty clean so far. It's been bloody, it's been tough, but it's been clean.
And
a stiff,
really tired.
A stiff jab, for Zontek. Yeah. And Kornev manages to get the top position again. I believe Zontek was trying for a Kimura, but had to let go. Zontek rolls, and Kornev lands straight in mount. Given how tired Kornev is and how not really that tired is Zontek and their experience, I'm really surprised that Zontek is letting Kornev into mount position so often in this fight.
That shows the ground skills of Kornev compared to Zontek. Zontek is much more of a stand-up fighter, as you can see. He can stand up and was rolling, but on the ground he is no much for Zontek, for Kornev.
For sure. Kornev really has the luxury of being able to choose the height at which he sits on the mount. As he tries a little bit higher, a little bit lower, he's bleeding again.
This is really a messy fight.
Yeah, it's a messy fight.
And why is he giving up?
He was an arm triangle that he tried, and he actually could have been reasonably close with the arm triangle. I don't believe that he had it all that well before he tried to skip over, or to step over, sorry.
And the blood made that they had it.
Подожди, а то ты так я сейчас сниму тебя. Можешь потерпеть немного. Дыши ртом.
Yeah, that was high.
High.
High, yeah.
Это не самое важное сейчас. Понятно, ну сейчас. Его нос сломан.
And the doctor's saying that Kornev has a broken nose. But is reasonably confident that it's not that serious. Not serious that he can't fight him. And of course, this is being a title fight. You know, these guys are not going to give up on anything, right? They're going to wait until someone stops this fight, but it's certainly not going to be them, right?
No, none of them will give up.
Хорошенько отдохни. Хорошенько отдохни.
Somebody will make the fight, will stop the fight too early.
Yeah.
So let's see. And Yeah, they can continue the fight. Once again, I have so much respect to continue a fight with a broken nose. It's not nothing.
It's not anything. You can't breathe. It probably hurts every time it gets hit.
Maybe you don't feel the pain that much because of the adrenaline flowing through your veins, but this is something that you definitely will be bothered by the fact that you cannot breathe properly.
And Zontek, of course, is the fighting moving forward. He knows that for him to keep winning this fight is really to KO or TKO Kornev. And Kornev has shown that he has a very, very hard chin. That he's taken so many big punches from Zontek that I think Zontek's probably wondering what he needs to do to finish Kornev in the stand-up. And it looks like Kornev is really trying to conserve the little energy that he has. He's defending.
And I miss the kicks. I miss the kicks from Zontek's side. It's only boxing. Okay, now probably you heard what I said.
The low kick.
But it was not a very strong kick.
For sure. He could be throwing a lot more kicks in the song. Kornev is too tired to defend them. I don't believe that he's going to be really checking lead kicks anyway. And I don't believe that we've had a single head kick attempt from Zontek. Given his height advantage, really he should have been trying for a head kick a couple of times around.
Even the low kick, I would say, are checked around here. And why not continue with the low kicks? Because if you break down the fundament of a building, automatically the building will collapse. And if you kick the legs often enough, your opponent will not be able to continue standing.
As both fighters land, Kornev, I believe, land to the right and then Zontek land to the left. And we're almost done with the first 3 rounds now. So now we're going to head into championship rounds. The deep water. I believe Kornev really.
He's really tired.
Yeah, he's had enough in these 3 rounds as the 3rd round comes to an end. I'm interested in what he thinks for having to come out for another 10 minutes worth of fighting. And Zontek really, to all intents and purposes, doesn't seem to be that tired. He doesn't seem to be that damaged.
Still pouring from the nose of the mouth. That's when the nose comes into the mouth and you see there's so much blood coming out. You must have a big problem breathing. And even if the bleeding stops, then the blood is still coagulating and getting thick.
Yeah.
And that prevents you from breathing.
Yeah. As Kornev's corner tell him that you have to be constantly moving. As soon as you stop moving, he starts to hit you. So you constantly have to be moving. Kislev tells him to wipe Kornev down as much as they possibly can. And yeah, Zontek looks like he's but perhaps hasn't even started the first round. He's had a warm up and now he's just waiting for the start.
Yeah, he looks amazingly fresh.
Amazingly fresh. kick clearance for Zontek. And really, he should be kicking a lot more. The kicks obviously have more power than punches. Kornev is tight enough not to defend everything every time it comes. After 3 rounds, who do you have taking this? 2 rounds to 1, right?
Yeah.
And Kornev lands a very, very quick takedown and ends up straight into side control over Zontek. And is trying for the crucifix position, as we can see. Is really trying for the crucifix position. Really, for him, I think he should be looking to finish this fight as soon as he possibly can. And he gets mount. Does he know Zontek manages to get his legs at the side of one opponent, and now Kornev is in mount. And Kornev really looks to, and he should be trying to not get away from this position, because he should do everything he can.
He's confusingly bleeding again.
Yeah, he's bleeding again. Look at that nose. That's a lot of blood. That's more blood than we usually see in the whole event, rather than just one fight. At which point do the fighters bleed so much that they start to become weak? Does that ever happen?
He'll be more bothered by the fact that he cannot breathe than the loss of blood.
Yeah, sure.
And don't forget that the body is reacting in a way in the stress situation that the adrenaline will close the wounds,
yeah.
So that there is not too much blood loss. It looks like a lot, but the body will do anything to prevent losing too much blood, especially if you're fighting.
Sure. And now we see Zontek with one of his legs trying to wrap up one of Kornev's. And really in this position, Kornev, and this is what happened in the first round that we criticized.
Now Kornev is taking advantage again in this round.
But he should be getting the back with the hooks in, right? He shouldn't be like sitting over Zontek like this with nothing attached. Yeah, any time that Zontek has enough energy, he's just going to stand up, and there's nothing that Kornev can do about it.
And he's not even trying to go for a naked choke or anything. It's just pounding, and why?
For Kornev, really, he has to.
He's superior in the ground fight.
Yeah, considerably superior. And what Kornev should be doing here is he should be getting his hooks in. That should be his first priority. Both his legs are on the sides of Zontek's legs, and then in between his legs down further, so that it's harder for Zontek to throw him off, and it's harder for Zontek to stand up, and it's also harder for him to roll or spin like this, where he ends up with Kornev on his half guard. And this position, of course, for Zontek is much more advantageous than the previous position was, and the reason that he now is in this position is because Kornev did not have his hooks in when he really should have been thinking about that as the first priority before he started punching Zontek. And it looks like Kornev is trying to free his leg up again in order to get full mount, as there are only 7 seconds left in this fourth round. 4th of 5, the M1 challenge light heavyweight title fight.
And it looked like the bleeding stopped, huh?
And Kislev stops the fight. There's only 5 minutes to go. Yeah, just a heroic fight for both fighters, really. Not much more that you can say,
And I think that this round was much more in favor of Kornev again. So in my sheet, I would say it's quite close. the outcome if you check the rounds.
So what happened to Zontek in the last 2.5 minutes of this round?
Maybe he lost control.
Yeah.
He should have kept it standing and avoid. He should have avoided Kornev taking him to the ground again, because you can see on the ground it's all Kornev, Kornev, Kornev.
Sure. As we see Konstantin Gluhov warming up, slowly making his way to the walkout position in the arena. Konstantin, of course, is fighting Alexander Milenenko tonight. Should be a big battle of two strikers.
Пятый решающий раунд. Поддержите спортсменов.
And now we are back for the fifth and final round of this M1 Challenge heavyweight title fight between Marcin Zontek of Poland and Sergey Kornev of Russia. The title is vacant. Either of these guys could take it. They just need 5 more minutes, and then the title is theirs. And a big right hand lands for Zontek.
Stand up, it's all Zontek.
And it looked like Kornev was trying to signal for some kind of a break. Something happened. And what is that? Is that a tooth? You know? Is that a tooth? Is that another tooth?
Is it possible? It's definitely not from Zontek.
It's not from Zontek. I think they were teeth. Wow, this fight is a lot tougher than even I thought it was possible for this fight to be. And Zontek lands another left hand. And yeah, Kornev, this is all he can do. Kornev really just his best bet to win this fight and to win this round is to put Zontek on his back or on his knees, get on top of him, and then just keep him down with strikes or perhaps a submission attempt or a choke. Interesting that given his superiority in the grappling, he still hasn't really attempted one submission attempt except for that arm triangle choke, which was, you could argue, reasonably half-hearted a couple of rounds ago. As Kornev's corner is screaming for him to keep his hands up, they know that Zontek is looking for the knockout.
And this is something that Zontek could have done in the rounds last year.
Yeah, for sure. I think had he had a strategy of leg kicks, he would have probably won this fight by now. Kornev catches the leg and receives a straight left for his trouble. Zontek lands the jab and then a right hand goes.
Kornev definitely very tired.
He looks very tired. And Zontek throws that jab out. Do you think that Zontek should be doing more during this round? You know, he seems to be quite relaxed to throw the jab out, throw the occasional right hand and the leg kick. And the big right hand lands for Zontek and a straight kick for Zontek. And Zontek is just, he can see the finish. And Kornev is just doing everything he can to keep.
But he's still not taking any risk because he knows that in the ground position, Kornev is stronger.
And Kornev takes him down with the double, gets into side control and looks to be trying to get into and is a mount. And this is possibly what's going to win. Yeah, it's a huge amount of blood. And is this what wins the fight for Kornev? Can he continue with this position? Yeah, it's a tough fight. Zontek gets one of the hooks, both of the hooks out, and begins to try and stand up. As Kornev continues to lay on Zontek's back to prevent him from standing up to full height. Wow, look at the back of Zontek where Kornev was bleeding onto it.
He's bleeding from his mouth, he's bleeding from his nose.
And Zontek attempting a straight armbar.
And he isn't doing anything at the moment, just standing there.
And lets it go. Kornev landing a couple of short lefts. And continuously pressing Zontek for another takedown. That's a scary sight. And a restart from Kosovo. No, not a restart. The doctor's looking at him.
Все, теперь не сморкаться. Слышишь меня? Ты меня слышишь?
Yeah. And the doctor tells Kornev not to blow his nose at all. Just to breathe from his mouth. And there are 35 seconds left on this final. And yeah, that looked like that was the punch that did it. And Kornev spits out his tooth. Is that a denture?
So what an amount of punishment.
Wow. I think Kornev is going to have quite the headache.
And quite an expensive dental bill.
Yeah, probably the next 3 days. Last 30 seconds, and Zontek knows that he has to throw everything. And Kornev is just defending as much as he can. Kornev is, and Zontek still looks quite fresh, and a knee lands for Zontek. Last 10 seconds. Oh my god, and a flying kick from Zontek as Kornev had. As Kornev had one of his legs. And a yellow card, I believe, is given. A yellow card from Savelyev is given to Zontek. Was that because Zontek had one of his arms on the ropes?
One of his arms,
one of his elbows on the ropes?
He hung over the ropes and kicked
as he kicked. And we'll see a replay of this.
Yeah.
And basically, this now means.
Check. You see what he did? Yeah, this is definitely. Yeah. You shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have done this.
I think they all realize that.
This can cost him, but this can cost him.
And so basically that yellow card in the last 3 seconds of the 5th and final round means that
this can cost
this is either going to be a draw or this is going to be a win for Kornev, really.
We'll see, but it's possible that in the official warning, because I think that the 2 rounds were for an what you call them?
2 rounds were for Kornev.
For Kornev.
And
the other 2.
In my opinion, 2 rounds were for Zontek.
Yeah, but 2 rounds also. There were 5 rounds. I think 2 for Zontek, 2 for Kornev.
Yeah.
And this last round was decisive.
Yeah.
And let's see what happens.
Very, very interesting. I think Zontek really that kick, the last 3 seconds of the 5th and final round.
Maybe
and that yellow card which he received for that kick.
Yeah, maybe the yellow card was too severe. Maybe it was too severe. But in a situation like this, you can take the belt away with a decision like this.
And all of the attention is on the center of the ring at the Druzhba Arena in Moscow, Russia, built for the 1980 Olympics, which was held in Moscow in Russia.
You see, none of the fighters is raising their hands.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the crowd is in a little bit of shock. of how tough and bloody this fight was.
Red corner,
Split decision.
They're calling for a split decision. Zontek is holding up his leg for some reason, which looks to be bleeding.
Is it the right leg that's bleeding?
I believe it's the right leg of
Yeah,
Zontek.
probably with the last kick
The last kick?
was in the
Уважаемые
face and
дамы
then,
и
hit the
господа,
No. Hit it
раздельным
in a split
решением
decision.
судей победу вырвал Sergey
And
Kornev.
Kornev takes the win. Zontek doesn't seem to have the energy to be disappointed, but
Клуб Легион
is happy for Kornev.
Ростов-на-Дону.
It was
Sergey
it was the
Kornev.
last round that did it.
It really was that last kick, I think.
Весовой
The
категории
yellow
до
card.
93 килограммов. Титул
Kornev
вручает президент
takes
M1
the win in
Global
what was,
Россия,
very, very
вице-президент
tough,
Союза ММА России
very tough,
Вадим
very
Финкельштейн.
grinding and bloody fight.
Россия может гордиться такими бойцами. Носи, Серега, с гордостью этот пояс.
And Vadim Finkelstein tells Kornev that Russia can be proud of fighters like himself, like from
Сергей
fights that he showed
Корнев,
tonight to take the belt.
победитель, обладатель титула в весовой категории до 93
And I think
килограммов.
this one is going to go down in history, really. Both fighters put on an amazing fight. Zontek really brought everything in. He was so close to winning this fight too.
Yep.
So close. That seemed like